streets of San Francisco.
Okay, so this video, I'm going to try and talk about some more important stuff because I'm just behind on making these videos, and I'm going to try and start getting to the point because I see I'm out of time, and I didn't cover all the stuff I've seen, not even close. So I gotta start moving quicker, and so I'm gonna try not to repeat myself. If you miss stuff, you're gonna have to go back and look at it or whatever the other old videos, and maybe watch the overviews that I've done or something. And but I'm gonna talk about the whole Earth and the giant that Adam and Eve that make up the giants and the Leviathan and all kinds of stuff that the real Garden of Eden, all kinds of stuff. And then I have a lot of other videos too about sports and all kinds of things, and the how we're being manipulated, like through avatars of our family and all kinds of stuff. So we got to get to it. So let's get into it, and hopefully it's some of it's going to be more, maybe you could say, advanced truth or just stuff that's not in the truth narrative. So you're going to have to keep an open mind, please. And I don't have all the answers. I only saw bits and pieces, so I'm kind of just cobbling it together best I can, as quick as I can. So let's see what we can come up with. And I know there's a lot of you out there that are getting what I'm saying, and a lot that don't. But we're all here. We're here. The ones that are getting this, we're here to unite and share what we've seen together, I think. So we'll talk about that too. So let's get into it. All right. This is San Francisco Truth. Over now. Hey there, San Francisco Truth. So this is End Days. This is the fourth horse. We're already into, this is the first 6 months of, let's turn this down. This is the first 6 months of the Pale Horse. Carolyn Levitt is the Pale Horse. Told you, Kaylee McEnany represents the White Horse, and Operation Warp Speed with the bow, and then there was Jen Psaki with the Red Horse, and Corinne Jean Pierre, the Black Horse. Well, now here we are, A lot of people dying in this flood. Believe me, look at that. You don't think people are dying? And it's all over the world, So it's like disasters, whatever. Look, I haven't prepared for this or anything, but look here, there's fires. Battling fire, whatever. Fire, that's not a big deal. But here we go. Look, tragedy in Belgium, chaos, storm, flooding. So Belgium, so it's just like everywhere you go, And
ICE officials say they were there
it's
to arrest an
you got
illegal
these
alien.
ice raids,
ICE officials say they were there to arrest an illegal alien from Honduras who had been removed from the U.S. twice.
In Belgium.
In fact, officials
It was like yesterday in Belgium. Here's what we got. Vegas, Las Vegas. It just goes on and on and on. Homeless crisis out of control in Florida. It's just like I don't need to even prepare. It's just like it's all there, So let's see. Extreme weather, China, blah, 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 blah. Let's turn this down. I'll just use that as a backtrack while I tell you about the end days. So So basically, you know, during the fourth horse, a lot of people are going to die. And also, we're going into the Battle of Armageddon. I just heard that in Jerusalem, there's a factory started making this special finely ground corn flour that's it's only made for certain ceremony in the new temple in Jerusalem. And it's the first time that this type of flour has been made in Israel in 50 years or something like that, or ever. Right? And so basically, they're getting ready to open up the temple, and the corn flour will be made available in 2026. So that tells you right there that you only got another year, and the temple's going to be open. I mean, they've already prefabbed it, and they've carpet bombed Gaza and all that. They're ready to go. Trump is the Messiah. He's the Antichrist. He's the synagogue of Satan's Messiah. This is end days. Look, see this shit falling down? You getting it? I'm not playing around, And you people have. Some people ask me about the timeline. I don't know. I haven't had any visions about that. But I do know we're in the fourth horse. That I'm certain of. Carolyn Levitt is the fourth horse. And if they're building, they made the flour for the temple, and the temple's going to be ready in 2026, then Armageddon 2027 or something is what it sounds like. So maybe when, a lot of biblical people say, oh, it's 7 years tribulation, that could be right, started in 2020 with the white horse, Kaylee McEnany, and, now we're in the last few years. And the last 3 years are last 3.5 years are supposedly the hardest. So the first 3.5 years aren't that bad, and it gets real bad in the last 3-4 years. So let's keep going with the video. And what's happening? The reason people don't realize this is end days is because the devil brainwashed everyone into not believing in end days and not believing it could happen, and believing, or if they did believe in it, through these churches, they believe it's going to be later, or if they're truthers, it's going to be like archaics. He says it's in 2040. That's how you know it's end days. When an avatar of Satan tells you end days isn't until 2040, you know it's before 2040. Duh. So, it's like, this is not a maybe. What happened to you if you think it's a maybe is you were tricked by the beast system. That's what happened to you. You should, if you have God's eyes, you know for sure this is end days. It's like, it's not a maybe. And you also know for sure that the Jews were, the mark of the beast. And you should know also for sure, it's not a maybe, but Trump was an avatar of the Antichrist. And like I said, it's the San Francisco Peninsula. That's the beast with the head wound. That's the Antichrist. And then, somebody's saying, oh, well, then, Trump will get assassinated and Obama will come in. No, Obama is the old dragon. Trump is the beast with the head wound. So all I can say is Trump is the beast with the head wound, and Obama is the old dragon. They're just avatars of the real beasts, and the real beasts are here in the Bay Area. So how the Bible is written out, I don't have all the details. I didn't study the Bible. I was shown the Bible, parts of the Bible. So, maybe that's right or whatever. I don't know, but those are that's who, Obama is Satan, and Trump is I guess he's the Antichrist, the beast with the head wound. Elon Musk is Marin County. He's Lucifer. So let me show you the maps. So, I've shown it 1,000 times. You guys better get this straight. This is your last chance. This is Obama. Look, where's the pointer? Where's the pointer? Here. This is Obama, the old dragon. There's his eye right there. It's not a maybe or oh supposedly. No, it's a for sure, absolutely for sure. This is the old dragon in the Bible. This is Satan, the old dragon rising from the earth. See, he's coming out of the earth right here. Okay, this is the beast with the head wound rising from the sea. See, he's coming out of the sea right here. And this is the other one that comes out of the sea, Lucifer. So you tell me how a guy who didn't believe in the Bible, didn't care, I'm not going to say I didn't believe in the Bible, just had never cracked a Bible, never had any exposure to it, except when I studied world religions, but was basically raised anti-religious, and just not more spiritual. I was raised on spiritual, like by beatnik hippies. And so, anyway, not trying to make this about me, but you just tell me, how does a guy that never even studied the Bible see the Bible and see all this? Explain that to me, okay? So that's where I'm coming from, okay? So, that right there would be enough. I was basically anti-Bible. And I started seeing the Bible. And I had to pay attention to it. I started seeing it in supernatural visions. And I'm like, what is this I'm seeing? And I told some of my friends, they're like, you're seeing, this is in the Bible. The stuff you're talking about is in the Bible. Like, what? So, the way I saw it, there's, the Bible is like a coded, like a test, and it's revealed to people on a earned basis or a need to know basis. So no amount of studying or research will get you into true understanding of the Bible. It'll get you into a lot of false understanding of the Bible, but it won't get you to true understanding. And I think from what I've seen, the only true understanding of the Bible comes from actually doing the test. This is like a secret test. You don't know you're in the test, but you are. We're all in it. We are the Bible, by the way. Outside of time, we've always been. We are the Bible. We're the characters of the Bible. So it's by doing it that it's revealed to you. So knowing isn't what you're after. It's understanding. Love and understanding are the keys to the Bible. But this is end days, okay? And this I've talked about this a lot in videos. This isn't what this video is going to be about. What I really want to tell you about is more about, let's back up. The whole what I've seen here, see, these maps really irritate me. Let's see if I can, how did I get it on that global view? Let's see. Oh my God, this is 3D map right there, okay. Yeah, this is what I wanted. So here, you have to realize that it's not a ball Earth, right? So they've cut it up and folded it around a ball, okay? And so the top is all this land you see is laying flat. It's the top. This is a ball, but the flat Earth goes across it right here, okay? And then down below is what we can't see. And above it is the dome right here, like the avatar on my channel, okay? That's how it really is. And what it is it's the bodies. Earth is the bodies of Adam and Eve and their children. And here is I told this in the videos already, but just real quick recap. Here is Eden, where Eden was. It's moved. Eden has been pulled apart. It's moved. So you just have to think of like these massive petrified bodies that have been pulled apart, okay, and they're partially underground and underneath us. So just they're all jumbled up. Like you just take two people that were making love in Eden. Eden is making love. They were in copulation. Adam's penis was right here. In here was where, you know, Eve's vagina was. So this was where Eden was. And now his penis has been pulled apart. It's down over here, right over here where my cursor is. And her vagina is all over here. That's why they're trying to say, you know, Eden used in the biblical scholars say, oh, Eden was right here, like where her vagina is. Because they kind of got it right, because they studied old truther stuff. So Eden is a spiritual action. It's love. It's outside of time. It's past and future and the now united. It's a place, and it's a thing, and it's also outside of time, and it's not a tangible place. So that's Eden. It's just not it's not a specific plot of land, but it is. See, you have to think. You cannot think in the parameters given to you to think in, or you will not get any of this. Do you see what I mean? You have to be able to think more abstractly to see what Eden really is. It is a place. It isn't a place. It's moved. It's love. It's your mother. It's your father. It's you. It's outside of time. And don't believe the people who try and tell you that Earth is hell. It's not hell. This is not the hell realm. We're just in the end times, and it becomes hellish during the end of tribulations. This is a test of love and a test of, being outside of time. So, no, you're not in hell. You can end up in hell, though, if you fail the test. But you are not in hell. So don't be telling people that, and don't be believing that. That's what the devil wants you to believe, because you give up. You give up your test exam questions. You give up your right to pass the test. You're not in hell yet. But if you keep saying that, you could end up there. The beast tries to trick people in any way possible. One of those tricks is to make you think, this is hell. And another one is, oh, this is a simulation. So you give up, right? And another one is, oh, well, Lucifer is Satan. And another method is to tell you, Jesus is Lucifer. Or, this is a soul trap. They're going to recycle you. The beast will say anything it can to get you to give up and to get you to not follow the real, rules of the game. The Bible's written rules of the game. It has to tell you the rules. But if you if you get tricked out of it and fail to follow them, then maybe, the beast can steal your soul that way. It's not easy. It's very difficult. You have to stay on your toes, man, big time. And there's a lot of little tricks and pitfalls. So, all right, let's keep going. And then they come up with that conclusion. But what they don't understand is it's all moved apart, And it wasn't, they don't understand the concept of Eden. It wasn't a place as much as it was a place, but it's a thing too. It's, it's Adam and Eve in copulation. And like I told you, Adam and Eve are past and future. So it was when there was no time, right? Past and future were in union, out of time, and the only way they get back there is through their children, but the problem is they have one good child and one bad child. So, you know, but I don't want to complicate it too much. I'll explain that later. But so here's your Eden, and you know, here's all the other stuff for the people who didn't see it. You know, this Nile River is her urinary tract. This is Eve's kidney. That's why all that water is right there. See the Lake Victoria and all that water? It's the shape of a kidney. And I already showed all this in other videos. And then the reason they built the pyramids represent her children. Okay, the biggest pyramid is her son. It's me, and then her daughter is the next one, and then the smaller one is her daughter's daughter. So it's her grandchild. So there's you know, which is the White Witch, like I told you. You know, Stevie Nicks and Billy Idol are transhuman replicants of them. That's the other thing you have to understand. They build replicants of all of us, okay? So we're being replicated, and then that's how they pull on your heartstrings. That's why you love Stevie Nicks, because she's a replicant of your relative, if you're a real human. See what I'm saying? That's how they get to us. And they manipulate us through these relationships with these are ancient relationships. And like you said, they're outside of time. Okay? So I don't say, oh, I've had this relationship with my mom for X number of years, because there are no years. That's how they've that's how you've been taken out of Eden, is by believing in time, believing in years. You know. And so that's what the pyramids really are. Okay? And like I said, Trump wants to, carpet bomb Gaza and build the third temple. He's regarded by the Israelis as the Mashiach, the Canaanites, the synagogue of Satan. Regards Trump as their Messiah, the Mashiach. And so, he's making the temple. Like I said, they've already milled the flour. Did I already say that? I think I did. They already milled the flour there's this in their, Bible, there's a special corn flour, fine flour that's now being made. It will be ready in 2026. And it's to be used in ceremony in the third temple. So you tell me, why are they all of a sudden, for the first time, making this flour and going to have it ready in 2026? Because the temple is going to be ready in 2026. Because they've already prefabbed it, and they're just clearing off all the last of the, killing off all the last of the Palestinians and getting it ready, and then they'll just bulldoze the whole thing and go ahead and build the third temple. And then, Trump's already issued the coin. If you're an Israeli male and you have one of these coins, you can buy one now. If you are one of the, you can buy the Trump coin, and it'll give you access to the third temple, okay? The Mashiach. They've got the red heifers, everything. They're fake created. They built the Ark of the Covenant replica, everything. So they're reenacting the Bible, and people say, oh no, Trump can't be the Antichrist because a lot of people don't like him, and he's handsome. But the problem is he's not the Antichrist. His San Francisco Peninsula is. He's just an avatar, and you have to realize Elvis is also an avatar of the Antichrist. So everyone loved Elvis. Elvis was good looking, and Trump was actually good looking when he was younger too. So he is the Antichrist. He's an avatar of the Antichrist. And like I said, it's this peninsula. And just tell me, you tell me, how am I wrong when I tell you the whole world has wandered after the beast, the San Francisco Peninsula, the tech industry, the biotech industry, the AI industry, the war weapons industry. The entire world has wandered after this peninsula. Just go outside. Everybody is staring into its phone that it put in its, hand. So, the world has wandered after the beast. The world loved Elvis, and they wandered after the Apple Watch and the Apple iPhone, and they wandered after the peninsula's biotech, Moderna and Pfizer and Genentech jabs. The world is wandering after them. You need to wake up. So here's Adam. Here's Adam's face, and let's turn that around. But I think this is one of the most compelling things I've revealed, and no one really even picked up on it. They don't, they're like, whoa. And it's like if somebody comes to the table with something that's not in the truther narrative, the truthers are so brainwashed they don't even pay attention to it. You know what I mean? It's like, so if I'd come to you with some Project Bluebeam presentation or 15-minute cities or, Agenda 2030 presentation or something, you guys would be all over it. But no, the real truth, people you're not even interested, and you want to hear about Project Bluebeam, which is a truther psyop. It is a hoax. So this is the reality of your trutherdom. What's really happening is the truthers' minds are being controlled. They're being controlled through these replicants and through these devices, through weaponry inside of the devices, light weaponry, sound weaponry. And in addition, they have implanted living iron and clay devices in their body. So of course they believe Blue Beam and targeted individual. Internet body of things. Of course you believe Eric Dubay and shit like that. When real truth comes to the truther's door, knocking, they don't want anything to do with it. They want the old fake truther crack, the crack rocks. They want the drug fix. So, the real truth is like a healthy smoothie. And you don't want anything to do with it. You want something you can put in your crack pipe and smoke. Some Richie from Boston Bluebeam crap. And, so real truth comes to you, and you're like, oh, I can't, that's not going to give me a truther crack hit. So this is what's happening to the truthers. It's cortisol, adrenaline, ego. It's like hits of chemicals released in your body through these screens, through weaponry. The problem with most of the truther narrative is it's based on a material solution to your problems. It's a material thing that happens to you. It's a physical reaction, material thing, ego. It's not a spiritual solution to your problems. You're seeking a material solution to your problems when you seek out the truther narrative, usually. Drug. Just like the mainstream narrative. It's a drug administered to you through the beast's glass screen into your soul, your eyes, window to your soul. If somebody came up with a new fast food restaurant, the sheeple probably would ignore it because it wasn't like part of the, McDonald's, Burger King repertoire. So that's how you truthers are. But so real truth is you're not even basically if real truth hit the truthers in the face, they wouldn't recognize it because they're so used to looking at fake truth, and it's gotta fit into the fake truth, So just like the masses, if a real restaurant hit, rolled into their town, they wouldn't even recognize it because they're so used to McDonald's. See what I'm saying? That's the truthers. They can't even recognize real truth. So here you are. Here's this to me is one of the, I mean, this is crazy. This should be like, everybody should be talking about this. But, you know, here's Adam's face. Look at his eye. Look right there. You know, there's his lips. There's his nostrils. You know, there's his chin. And you know, like I said, it's the, here's, oh my God, they always make it so you can't get to this. But it's too bad they did that. It's so irritating. Getting back to that position is like really hard to do. I just did it. Wow, I got lucky. Okay. Back to the thing. Okay, so here's his skull, right? Here's his teeth. This is his eyes, you know? See his nose, see his eyes, the eye socket, everything. It's right here. And the skin is slipped off. It's underwater. And this is the jawbone, all these like islands, okay? And right here is his neck, and it's the Mississippi River. And they even, like I said, they always name what these things are right to your face, you know? And like the Red Sea, it's Eve's vagina, like the Red Sea, menstrual blood. It's all told to us, right to our friggin' face, you know? And it's because in the end days, when people like me come forward and start telling you the truth, you can see it. Yeah, okay, it's gonna, you know, just make it easy for you to realize, yeah, this is what it is, you know? And this is why this is named the Mississippi. His jaw's all broken off of his body, and he's missing his sippy. He's missing the sip. See what I'm saying? And it's comical. The B system has a lot of ebonics and comical and slang and sexual innuendos, and it's like a comical, like it's real codes. And you know, the real codes have nothing to do with 33 and, you know, all your gematria. That's a fake code system for truthers. It just leads you around and around in circles. It doesn't explain anything real. It's not gematria, you know? So stop talking about gematria. All you're doing is propagating fake truth when you talk about gematria. So if you want to talk about some numbers and codes, go look at the Police 10 code, and that's a baby code for the beginners. And that'll tell you 10 times more than gematria will ever tell you. It'll tell you what's gonna happen, who people are, what, you know, happened. It tells you past, future, and what. And gematria doesn't tell you anything. All it does is show a connection. Well, yeah, of course there's a supercomputer running this, so of course there's a numerical connection to everything. Duh. You know? So, I mean, it's like all those receipt numbers on when you go to the grocery store and you look at your receipt. You don't know what those numbers mean, but they do mean something. You know what I mean? So gematria just leads you around in circles. So let's get off of that topic. I've already said enough. This is more important. This is Adam's face. This is Adam. This is the father of the natural-born humans. And there's replicants of him, and he's in society, and there's millions of little offshoot avatars of Adam. And I just use avatar as a way to describe this because I don't have a better word for it. But it's just the whole real truth is really complex. The truth or narrative is a simplified, dumbed-down lie that sounds like the real truth. The beast specializes in making things that sound like real truth, so that when people come and speak real truth, like start talking about numbers and codes, you'll go, oh, gematria, or, you know, poisons from the sky, oh, chemtrails. So what I'm telling you is all those things aren't the real problem or the real codes. They're created truth or psyops to keep you from seeing the real truth. And so when somebody comes and challenges you and says, no, Whitney Webb isn't, real, and, no, it's not, when they show you that, no, it's not Sabrina Wallace and the internet body of things, and that she's just a gatekeeper, a shill, and somebody that's going to mind control you and steer you into absolute oblivion. I know truthers that have been, driven into complete isolation. Their genitals are rotting from between their legs. They're pissing blood because they just couldn't stop watching Sabrina Wallace in juxtaposition. And Satan has such a hold and a grip on their life. They're just destroyed. So this truth or narrative is highly dangerous, very, very dangerous. You're playing around with fire if you're playing with these gatekeeper, shills. And starts telling you stuff like that, you're gonna, flip out and lose your shit on them and alienate yourself from them. And so they'll get tired of you and not want to tell you any real truth anymore. And or whatever, just stop, give up. I'm sure so many people have seen visions like this and tried to tell people, and people are so mind controlled and so brainwashed, they won't accept the vision that this could be truth. And so I'm sure a lot of people just give up, but there's a handful of people that get it. So it's really, it's frustrating. Basically, I think the only people that will believe the type of thing I'm saying is other people who've had similar visions. If you haven't had these kind of crazy visions, these supernatural visions I'm talking about, and I'm not talking about just seeing a couple, like my friend saw a big decal, a Lunchables on a bus, and she says, oh, like they're eating people. Like, I saw some, like, no, I'm not talking, that's not a supernatural vision. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about seeing like messages and stuff, supernatural visions and stuff, So until you've had that, most people are not going to believe the kind of thing that I'm talking about. So basically, I think the people that believe me are people that have seen stuff themselves, like what I'm talking about. And I saw in a vision that, trying to stay away from being, arrogant or self-important or whatever. But I was like, because during all these visions, it was so heavy. I was like, like, what the hell's happening to me? I mean, it was so hard, so crazy, so difficult. And I was like, I can ask questions and get answers in these visions. And I was like, well, how many people are there like me? And the answer was 7. So I don't know if that's like, replicants or worldwide or just in San Francisco or what. Because, I mean, honestly, I kind of was the intention. This happened, I can't remember exact, 5 years. No, like 8, 9 years ago. But I think I was asking about how many people are there like me in San Francisco, but I can't remember. But anyway, I'm getting off on another tangent. But let's get back to this Adam and Eve, okay? So their bodies are jumbled up together and petrified, but they're still alive. That's the part you have to get. People think that these petrified giants are dead, and they're just not. And that's why there's all these earthquakes. They're starting to move. They're moving around in the end days. They're upset because Satan has pitted their little avatar children and avatars of themselves against their children and created all this turmoil. All this stuff happening in the world is happening because we've let Satan fool us into being, like going against our own family members. So what I'm trying to tell you is we have powers connected to this giant. Like if you're Adam, okay, you are connected. See this face? This is Adam, right? Okay, you're connected. You get powers through him, and he's a very powerful. And if you're Eve, I showed you that, let's go back to the red. I hate to turn it because it's so hard to get back to this, but if you're Eve, like here's her vagina and this is all part of her torso, her stomach and her kidneys. And like I told you, up here is like, this might be where her heart is. I mean, see this coming out of here? And that's why there's so much gold down in South Africa, because the giants have gold in their blood. That's where gold comes from. It comes from the blood of giants. And so that's why you have so much gold down there. And also the diamonds, okay? She's the queen of diamonds. The reason she's called the queen of diamonds is because all those diamonds are down there. And I think that has something to do with, some fluid in her body or something, and her children. I don't know what it is exactly. So, and I'm just... Okay, the diamonds come from Eve's dome. Eve is ice. That's her ice diamonds. Ice cube. So I told you, okay, this is the diamond top dome and the ice wall. So, that's why she's the queen of diamonds. She's Thor. This is Thor's dome, Thunderdome. She is ice. He is fire. She is thunder. And he is lightning. They are past and future. They're art and music. They're male and female. They are rock and roll. They are the Twin Towers. They are the guardians and protectors of the 144. Just letting you know, I don't know everything. You know what I mean? I just see a lot of stuff. I seen a lot of it's right, but it's fragmented. I don't have all the answers, so I'm not a big know-it-all. I'm not here trying to get popular and make people believe me and give me money. I'm never going to be monetized, never have been. And so, the point being here is, basically, I don't know everything. And these truthers that come off like they do, they're not to be trusted. There's something wrong if they want you to believe that they got all the answers. And they talk like, and I listen to them, and they say a lot of shit that's not right. And, it's like, this is the truthers it's based on ego. Truthers want people to listen to them and believe them. But here's another thing, that I saw, I think I saw the Mag Truth making this video, and there's, he's debunking this video about the seas being rough here at the Cape Horn. And I actually think that they could be. I don't know. They may or may not be. Whatever. But last time I checked, I think one of the reasons they built the Panama Canal is because this was so treacherous coming through this area, right? Around the Cape Horn back in the old days. And a lot of ships wrecked here. And I'm telling you, I see the reason why. This is where the Leviathan's head is. See him? He's guarding this passageway, is what it is. This is the Leviathan. It's in the Bible. Okay? But look, you want to see his head? Look. Let's get that pointer. Damn it. Oh, here. Okay. Look, see, there's like his muzzle, like his teeth, his right there. And there's his eye right here, is his other eye. This is a snake's, like, Leviathan. It's like a big, underwater. And he's also a petrified giant, alive, just like the beast system I showed you. So they're all alive. They're giving off energies. So they're tied into all the evil energies, Leviathan and the beast system. And we, the natural born humans, and the 144 who are Adam and Eve's children, okay, Joseph and Mary's children, or maybe God and Mary's children, or, it's complicated. I mean, they are God, maybe. And so Adam could be, Jesus' father and Adam. But people don't ever think about things in those terms, And if you start talking like that, the Christians get pissed off. And you have to think, well, why does it anger them so much? Because why? Because they were brainwashed not to think outside of their truther box or their Christian narrative box. So here's the Leviathan. So back to the choppy waters. Okay, so if these waters, I don't know if they're choppy or not, but if they're choppy, I wouldn't be surprised, because this energies of this snake could be making it really difficult to passage through here. You see what I'm saying? The Leviathan. Okay, so maybe read about the Leviathan in the Bible if you want to know about that passage. Some of you people were wondering about it. But, so, here you go. So, what it is, the beast system is a software program from a supercomputer that's been harvesting. The beast it's a machine that was alive, that was hooked, God's technology. So it needs God's essence and life. It needs its seed to keep going. So it needs to harvest the children of Adam and Eve. Do you see what I'm saying? It's feeding, that's its food. It can't continue on. It's a software program, a living software program of souls, locked in souls. It can't continue on without more souls. So it's like a voracious appetite for souls. So what I think has happened is it's shrunken us down and made us more easy to harvest, because we were originally this size. Adam and Eve, our parents, were the size of 3 continents, whereas the beast system is just this one area. It's just this crab. And no, it's not what stupid Roger, the shill old dragon. It's not a Scorpzilla. You can just discount everything that Roger Mud Fossil says, because he's a controlled avatar of Satan, okay, and he's a shell, okay. I made a video about it. You should look at that. If you believe in Roger, you're really in big trouble. You're contracting with Satan is what's happening. So he's a gatekeeper. He doesn't want you to see the real. There is petrified giants. He's telling the truth about that, but he's gatekeeping the topic so you don't see these giants. You don't see this. You don't see Adam. You know what I mean? And you don't see the beast. And that's why he made up that lie about Scorpzilla, because somebody called my channel to his attention, and he went and looked at it, and he saw, I was saying that this was like a crab, and that's a beast system. And so he twisted it around, watered it down, twisted it around, and changed it into Scorpzilla. So, that's classic shill, beast system behavior, where they just change what the real truthers say and water it down and twist it around backwards to something that sounds like it but isn't the truth. So anyway, back to the topic. So this is how big the beast was. And this is Adam's torso. All of Canada, North America, Alaska. See what I'm saying? So, if it didn't dumb us down, if Satan and the beast didn't dumb us down and shrink us down, we would have, taken it off of our dad's back and stomped on it, and it would be over for him. So he had to trickily, it's a supercomputer, had to trick us and shrink us down over, many runs or ages, So we've been shrunken down, and we're still being shrunken down. That's why, like I told you, even the doorways here in San Francisco, the houses, the old houses before the 1906 earthquake, they were all built for people who were about 8 or 9 feet tall. And it's not, I've been working in these houses, as a carpenter, and it's not a maybe, you know what I mean? And it's all over the world. It's not just San Francisco, where these doorways, there's all these big doorways. So the people were, they were shrunken down, and, truth narrative is bullshit, and that's why you see so many different sizes of giants, 20-foot tall giants, and then there's, Jain religion talking about giants. Jainism is interesting because that's one of the religions that talks about that all the beings are being shrunken down. Now Jainism says that the people were, I think it's like 20 miles tall, and they've been shrunken down to what they are now, 6 feet tall. But that's what the Jainism says. And it's one of the oldest religions, by the way. So you think about, just think about what I'm saying. And look at this doorways. Why was it just 100 and something years ago that the people were 9 feet tall? What happens? So, and why is one of the world's older, major religions talking about us once being 20 miles tall? You tell me, huh? So just don't come at me with any of your stupid truther that you learned on BitChute or YouTube, because it's all wrong, all of it, capital ALL, all of it's wrong. I hate to tell you this, but and it's your ego that's making you defend it. You're so afraid to be hoaxed by the sheeple and the mainstream, and so angered at what a disgusting lie they told the mainstream people, that you're willing to defend this other lie tooth and nail to the very end, because you're so desperate to avoid the mainstream lie. And what I'm telling you is, if you do that, you're really falling into a huge trap. So you don't like the mainstream lie? Well, think about, what if the mainstream lies is the truth or narrative is just an extension of the mainstream lie to catch the people who didn't like it, the mainstream lie. See? So you're being shrunken down. It's in The Wizard of Oz. It's in a lot of things. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's about Adam and Eve. And this happens through time. Time is and the other thing I wanted to tell you, so here's his eye, right? Okay. The sun is Adam's eye. Okay. I think it's his right eye. Yeah, so I was right. It is his right eye. Because if you look, his right eye is all gouged out in the skull, and also underwater. It doesn't show, but his left eye is showing. So I think it is his right eye. And I just, Adam's associated with the right eye. And the moon is Eve's left eye. And those have been taken, and they're revolving around, us. And that's why he's fire and she is ice, I keep telling you that, Fire is the future, ice is the past, the ice age. See what I mean? And then hell, fire, see what I mean? He's the future, she's the past. Ice, that's why the sun is hot and the moon is cold. You know the light from the moon is cold, right? It's because it's ice. It's a piece of rock floating up there that was cold. You know. So, but it's not in the truth or narrative. You know. So, it's what's really happening. And okay, so I have a video I was gonna maybe post about this, but I should tell you now, I have a third eye in the middle of my right and left eye, right at the top of my nose bridge where my forehead starts, like right where the Hindis put the red dot. I have an actual eye. And I mean, shaped like an eye, like a bump. And it opened up during all these visions. Was instructed to put all these oils on it, and it opened up. I see through this eye. When I sleep, I cover it with my thumb because I can't go to sleep unless I always wake up or fall asleep with my thumb over it because it's the only way I can close my eye. So I'll tell you more about it later, but just interesting, the sun and the moon and the right and left eye and their child and the center eye, and so we'll talk more about that later. There's a bunch of other stuff. I should write a little list or something sometime when I make videos so I don't get sidetracked. But there was something really important. Oh yeah, Mount Maruhu. So somebody's asking me about Mount Maruhu. And oh yeah, it's the North Pole and Mount Maruhu and Black Rock, and well, you want to know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. And there's 4 rivers running into the the Black Rock. So here's what it is, okay? The 4 rivers are Adam's urinary tract and his colon, and Eve's urinary tract and her colon, and they were meeting together here in Eden, okay, when they were in copulation. Here, his penis is the North Pole, okay? See it? This is his penis. And I mean, I'm sure you've heard people refer to penises as poles, right? The North Pole. That's what it is. Okay, so Jay Dreamers wants to know about the Garden of Eden and Mount Maruhu and Black Rock, and he's been studying the older, truth or narrative around it. And like I said, the old truth narrative gets you closer to the truth, but it doesn't tell you the truth. So he doesn't understand that Garden of Eden is where Adam and Eve were in copulation. See, this right here. Let's get a pointer. This is this is Adam's penis, and this is her, vagina. And then, this is his urinary tract and his colon, and this is her urinary tract and her colon. See what I mean? So it's where they met together. See? So this is when they were in copulation, they were in love, they were making love, outside of time. So, this is what it really is referring to. So he doesn't, but not dissing J. Dreamers or anything like that whatsoever. I'm just saying that people don't know the real truth around this, because they had to start with these kind of lies, because back originally they knew, the giant people knew some stuff about it. So it's just been slowly morphed into, now it's a ball earth, and science is the way, and you know what I mean. And So, but anyway, so let's watch what he says about this, and then you can watch what I say about it, and between the two, you'll get to understand how the truth narrative has always been a lie, and so studying and how studying ancient truth gets you closer to the truth, but it still doesn't get you there, and that it's really only supernatural visions that will get you to real deep end time truth. So let's watch, and so this is good and everything that he's gotten this far, but there's more. There's more to go. So let's check it out.
This circular island, you see this? Cross-sectioned by 4 rivers. We're starting at the beginning. This is the book of Genesis. This is the Garden of Eden. There is the 4 rivers of paradise right here. Okay, you can see this is the Euphrates because it's
The 4 rivers of paradise. Okay, that's Euphrates is Eve's colon. That's why it's in the Bible that the Euphrates will dry up, and it's already happened. The 6 seals already happened. Okay, like I showed you, the Euphrates is dried up. I showed you this over a year ago. Okay, so let's keep going.
into 7 heads. This one, it's written in Latin. I've decoded all of this Latin. And it says this is the fastest of all the rivers. It's the Tiger River or the Tigris River, the fast-moving river. This one over here is equivalent to the ancient Nile, okay? So,
that's Eve's urinary tract. I told you. Now, Eve's urinary tract comes through Africa. It comes from Lake Victoria, which is her kidney, okay? And like I told you, the Giza pyramids are her urethra. They're built on top of her urethra. They're harnessing the powers of her urinary tract, of her urethra. And so, but and the Tigris, I think, is his urinary tract.
modern-day Nile, the modern-day place names, rivers, mountains, all of that.
And it's the Mississippi is actually the beginning of it, okay? It's actually probably the Ganges. I don't know. Let's see. Come on.
Many of them, maybe most of them, have been renamed in honor of this ancient land. This is the original land. So we've got the Euphrates, the Tigris, the Nile. They go by many different names too. The Pishon, the Gihon, etc., right?
The
in
Mississippi.
The middle, we have a magnificent, lofty, towering mountain, a black mountain, a black rock, right? Which is exactly why your modern-day company is called Black Rock. And why?
Let me just explain to you, too, who owns or who's in charge of BlackRock. Larry Flint, right? Whatever. Larry is always Lawrence, Larry. That's always the Red King, okay? So the Red King runs BlackRock. And I'm not saying Adam and Eve are running these devil companies. I'm saying the devil is copying everything in nature, copying God. See what I'm saying? So even the devil has made BlackRock and put an avatar, a transhuman avatar of Adam in charge of BlackRock, in charge of Adam's penis, the Black Rock. Okay, so let's keep going.
They own everything, okay? Those people that own that company are related to survivors who left this area and passed on secret information or just...
It's not really true. What it is those are just cybernetic iron and clay. I mean, he's right, but it's deeper. They're cybernetic iron and clay beings, right? They're now devil-controlled souls. And the beast system knows more of the truth of this, and it's trying to lie about it and confuse everybody, So, but I mean, it's not these people, these societies, these families. They don't really know that much. They're just being run by a mainframe computer, aka the beast system. See, they're not plotting. They're into script. They're into software. They're pieces of software. They're software programs. They're not making any decisions whatsoever. The software program is just running. They're just part of the software. That's why I told you there's no Elon Musk or Donald Trump or, Larry Flynn or BlackRock. And Vanguard is Eve, okay? It's BlackRock and Vanguard. And Vanguard is Eve, you know? So it's the male and the female principle. And it's the same thing with the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. Rockefellers is rock is the feller, like a fellow, like a male. It's the male principle. It's Adam, okay? And Rothschilds, like the mother, the child, the cloth of the mother, okay? Rothschilds. So these are the two male, female, fake elite families. They want you to believe the beast system has created the elites to mislead you. The beast system doesn't want you to see it. So it's made these elites to hide itself. It works through these fake elite puppets so that it can lead you through fake truthers. It can lead you into believing in elites. There's no elites, excuse my French, but there isn't. It's not Masons or elites that are doing this. It's a beast system program. Those Masons and elites are just part of the software, part of the program. The beast can't come into your life. You're you've been shrunken down to 6 feet tall. And this thing is a petrified living giant, a reanimated giant. How can it come into it can't come into your living room. It can't even talk to you. It has to make avatars to talk to you and to mess with you. So no, there just isn't elites. That's not what's doing this. It's a ancient supercomputer that's gobbling up souls, harvesting souls. God's letting it happen. You're in a test. You're going to get gobbled up because you failed the test, or you're going to get, you're going to go back to, you're going to get out of here. So let's keep going.
To their family members, and they ingrained it within them to remember these things, specifically.
No, it wasn't ingrained within them. It's part of their software. They're told, their minds are running straight from the beast system. So they don't need any ingrained. It's not, this is thousands of years of, and I don't believe in years, but that ages this stuff's been going on. You think it's all just perfectly being timed out down to the hour when 9/11 was going to blow up the tower? It's all been planned out by word of mouth? No, through elites. You need to wake up. This is a supercomputer. These people are controlled by the computer. They're basically like living robots. They're not passing anything down orally.
Apocalypse and the nature of our world.
Like my friend says, how do you execute a 5,000-year-old plan when you only live 80 years? So let's keep going. Okay, here's a good example of showing you what I'm talking about. There is no elites planning this. George Bush didn't plan 9/11. It wasn't an inside job. This is a supercomputer. These are cybernetic beings. This is all running on a schedule, on a clock. This is, they're not making, there's nobody passing this down through the cabal, or this is not what's going on. These people are all, like I said, they're transhumans. 80 to 90% of the people on Earth are transhumans. So let's watch this. Now you'll see, how does George Bush, how do these kids end up reading plane must hit steel when the plane's hitting the Twin Towers? You tell me, you think this was passed down 5,000 years ago by some Canaanite guy? No, this is a supercomputer. They serve the devil. They're the devil's army. What is that? They're hooked up to a supercomputer. People just don't understand that this is a living iron and clay super technology, ancient technology. And once you can start thinking on those terms, it's really easy to figure all this stuff out. So let's watch.
Sound it makes. Get ready. Yes, type. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready. Yes, sound it out. Get ready. and girls, sound this word out. Get ready.
All these people, the teacher, most of the kids,
Read these
you
words
know,
the fast
the
way. Get
president,
ready.
they're all
Get
cyborgs,
ready.
you know?
Yes, must.
This is a show for us, the truthers, really, to see and to see that this is a script.
Yes, playing. Get ready.
You know,
Yes, must.
it's only your sin that makes you believe otherwise. If you were in this world pure of sin, you would see clearly that none of this stuff was real. There is no, BlackRock. There is no George Bush or Trump, or you'd see the beast. You'd see all of it. It's only sin that makes you believe in the truther narrative or the mainstream narrative, to be honest with you. So, let's just go back. But, so,
Get ready to read all these words
how,
on this
let's go,
page without
come on.
making a mistake.
I'm
Look
so
at the letter
irritated.
at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready. Yes,
Oh my God, the controls don't even work on YouTube. After all this, they're supposed to be so good, right? Oh, YouTube, oh. All right. So that's what I wanted to show. So you think that this was all, like, every generation they whispered to each other, oh yeah, on 9/11 we're going to do this and that, and all the numerical like significance down to the second this happened. You think that was all done by word of mouth for the generations? No, I'm sorry. This is not elites. The elites are part of it. They're part of the software program, but they're not planning it. They're not, this computer is doing it. They work for the computer. They're the benefactors, the managers. They're the emissaries for the computer. The computer can't interface. The beast, the devil, the Lucifer can't interface with us directly. It needs little meat suit bodies, little avatars to interface with us. How else? If it's a 600-mile tall petrified dragon, how is it going to interface with this 5'5" meat suit person? It can't. It has to make an avatar, and it's an economy. It works off of economy, so it's it's turned these people into its avatars, so that it can bring them into your life. And it's also done the same thing with your relatives. So your relatives that took the poison juice this time around, they're going to be used in the next run of this, and they'll be transhuman, they'll be gender flipped, and they'll be under getting radio controlled from the beast system instead of radio controlled from God. Right now, we're radio controlled from God. Just a few of us, 10-20% of us. Now it's less. Now that the radio controlled juice has been administered, it's less. See what I'm saying? So we're just a few now left of us, and we're the souls. We're the crop. It's after, and so the rest were just filler people to fool us. All those billions of people were just filler NPCs, cyborgs, to lead us astray, lead us into sin. So no, this is not elites. There's no such thing as Freemasons or elites. There's none of these companies are real. None of this exists. It's not really. It's just a show for this supercomputer and these beasts, these ancient beasts, these petrified beasts, to living petrified beasts to interface with you and trick you and get your life essence, get your seed, get Adam and Eve's seed. It's hungry. It's the only way it's a machine gone awry that doesn't want to die. So it's figured out a way to, it's written a software program, an elaborate ancient software program to harvest, Adam and Eve's children. So, all right, let's keep going. Or actually, back to the video with J Dreamers. Okay, bye.
all of this is actually created. Okay, but if we take a look at these ancient maps,
I don't want to. I'm not trying to step on Jay Dreamer's toes or anything like that. I'm not. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just. He just happens to be on. He's on the track of something important. So I'm just adding to what he's saying. So no disrespect to Jay Dreamers. Okay, I hope you get that.
find that at the middle, at the North Pole, we have paradise, we have Hyperborea.
Yeah, Eden.
Little island continents
Love.
that create a circular continent with the mountain right there in the middle. This is the Urbana
That's a
Monte
test.
map, the largest map that I've ever found that was made during the Dark Ages. Now you can see that this hidden land made it onto so many of these medieval maps.
Yeah,
Going
see,
from
because
the
it's
Dark
the
Ages
truth.
all the
Because
way
it's
to
Adam and
about
Eve.
the
Eden.
1700s-ish, right around there. They started taking this map, this land, off of the maps. You guys might recall.
Yeah, so like I said, it's an evolving lie, and it gets more sophisticated as the software program runs. So,
and showing you the land of Jesus that was shown on ancient maps many different times. They had what they called the land of Jesus. It was another terra incognita. Here it is again on another ancient map of the world. You can see right smack in the middle the four rivers that cross-section the Garden of Eden. We have it again up here at the top, right? This one says Island of Pygmies. The Pygmies were the small people. They're dwarves. They're quite actually dwarves like you see in the Lord of the Rings. Sometimes they're called Skraelingers.
okay, whatever. He's getting off on some other weird stuff. Let's skip ahead.
These are vertical cliffs that surround the entire island, making it very right there in the middle. That's one of my favorite depictions of the
let's
land
go
at
back
the
to
North Pole.
that.
Region. We've got Mercator's map of the Arctic.
Okay, so that's it. This is, you can think of it like, I guess he said this was the Nile. So this is Eve right here, and this is Adam. Okay, that's probably like Adam's urinary and his colon, and that's her urinary, or that's her colon and her urinary. See what I'm saying? And it's all moved. It's all moved. That's why they say rock and roll. In the cataclysms or time, it's everything is petrified into rock and it's rolled around again. So it rocks and it rolls. It's Adam and Eve. Eve's starting to roll right now. That's why both of them are starting to roll right now, because they're getting upset and they're like, moving around. They're starting to move. They're sleeping giants. So let's go back to my other video. This is just to add an addition to it. So let's keep going. And again, no, not trying to step on no Jay Dreamer's toes here. I'm just adding to what he's saying. He's doing good work. Good job, Jay Dreamers. So let's keep going. The end time truth will emerge from the unity and humility and love and understanding of all of the other messengers. This is like a final chapter in your test, your tribulation. Can you be tolerant enough to accept others? Okay, this is a good time for me to tell you, what I feel is what we're supposed to be doing is we're supposed to be finding all the real truthers and and the fake truthers and sifting through them. Okay, so that's why I have so many videos about the fake truthers, and I also talk about real truthers. So to me, like Magnet Truth is an avatar of Eve, Thor. Okay, and this J Dreamers is the Red King. He's Adam. And so they're leading us. They're protecting us. They're leading us. You know, uh, our they're protecting their seed. So they're like real truthers. This apocalypse watchman. That's the Red King right there, man. And I just can see sometimes, I can see these people, and archaics is Satan. So I'm steering you, get away from archaics and start going to these real truthers. And this is who's going to protect you, if you're 144. And you can also work with the other 144 messengers. There's a lot of them on BitChute, believe it or not. That may be the tent, the curtain, the chute that protects the 144 in the end days. As weird as it sounds, I saw something about that. So, we're supposed to unify each other, and each of us have a little piece of the puzzle. And then through the unification, which is going to take, a smashing of your ego, and you're going to have to get really humble to unify with these other truthers, because they're, black, white, whatever, believe this, believe that, Christian, whatever, this and that. It's all of us are going to have to let go of a lot of pride and ego and stuff to unify with these people. But when we can do that, that's when all of our puzzle pieces will be united and will share the end time truth. That's how the end time truth is going to come about. That's what I think. So I have a piece of puzzle about this Bay Area. I was shown, Demon Hunter he knows about Skydome Atlantis and some stuff like that. We each have a little piece of the puzzle, see? And so this is what we're supposed to be doing. So it's hard though, because the devil's made all these fake truthers, and they really, a lot of them are avatars of our family and stuff, and they really are, can be really confusing. I mean, I saw Whitney Webb initially. I was like, whoa, man, I was all impressed. And then later I'm like, wait, I get taken by them all the time. So we need to unify, and we need to start identifying the real end time messengers and the real Adam and Eve avatars and stuff. So anyway, this is how I feel about it. I think that's how the end time truth, the sealed end time truth, comes out in the end days. And if this is my timeline's right, it's about 7 years. And it's now 2025. This is right the time when it should start happening. So you might, oh, I'm not going to listen to Mag because he's black and stupid, or I'm not going to listen to, whatever, because of this and that. This is like that. You need to get humble, man. And those are the only people that are going to get the end time truth. So let's get on with the video. And, I have another truther friend, and he thinks the opposite. He thinks, oh, only he's black, right? Only the black people are the chosen. So I just don't see it that way. Okay, so that's the end of part 2 or part 1, and there's another. This is half of it. There's another half coming up. Let me know what you think, and we have a lot of stuff to cover. So, all right, over now.